have to learn to hold your tongue or hold a gun. I was like, yo, that's fresh. I was like, that's fresh, blood. But she got a lot of them. She got these punchlines. Like, I know she knows hip hop. Yeah. All I care about is that you know hip hop. Yeah. If you come out there shucking and jiving for a few extra dollars, you know what I'm saying? Bumping and grinding for a few extra dollars, I ain't mad. You know what I'm saying? But if I know that you got bars, man, I'm gonna just salute you, man. So Cardi B, there's a lot of youngsters that I respect, and I ask young people all the time when I go into the hall, I'd be like, yo, who's dope right now? And they'll go, oh, this person, that person. And I listen to it. A lot of it's trash. I'm not gonna front, but some of them are dope, and I'm never gonna front on them.
Now and then I catch one. I used to do that when the halls too, man. I used to make them like, if I gotta listen to your trash all day, you gotta listen to my joints. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the night, I'll play Biggie, I'll play Nas, I'll play Gangstar or whatever.
Yeah.
So it was funny to hear like one of the kids take real interest in kicking the door. He wanted to know word by word, kicking the door. So I was like, all right, bet. You do that, you got some extra rec time. You can say that for me verbatim. And he did it. You know what I'm saying? So let me ask you this though, man. It was an episode, maybe second to last episode you did on Bishop Chronicles about depression.
Yeah.
And something you said about the importance of crying, right?
Ooh.
Big proponent of vulnerability being a strength more so than a weakness.
No question.
Kick some knowledge about that, man, in that episode, because I thought it was very, very vital. A lot of the stuff you do is vital, man. I'm gonna be honest. Like I listen to you, man. It's kind of a roadmap of.
Thank you, man. No, that means a lot.
Put people up on, right? Like that episode you did about black versus Asian, the beef, whatever, was bro.
Thank you.
That was flaming hot chips, bro. Easy.
Thank you, man. No, I mean I really try. You know, me and my producer Mike Realm, you know, we try to be on time. You know what I'm saying? We try to be on time. Now, normally one of the things is that, you know, I always have Bishop Chronicles up until about 3 months ago was strictly a hip hop podcast. You know, I've had RZA on, you know, like last year I had John Leguizamo on. I've had lots of different, you know what I'm saying, MCs, DJs, you know, and academics on there. But what happened was after the pandemic, what I started to recognize was that no matter who I talked to, they could be black, white, Asian, rich, poor, middle, whatever, no matter what we were talking about, hip hop heads, jiu-jitsu people, at some point it would be like, okay, man, so Mike, how are you doing, man? How are you getting through right now? Right. That's what always comes up. And then you'd be like, oh man, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? My neighbor's mom died of COVID last week. It's kind of crazy out here, my job, right? And so I started realizing that no matter who I was talking to, you know, how people were getting through was coming up over and over again. And then I called Mike one day and I was like, bro, we got to change the podcast. We got to change the podcast. Because I had, you know, I just finally signed my divorce after going through some crazy madness in 2018 with my ex-wife now. And I was super depressed, like suicidal, like I'm about to jump in front of this train depressed. You know what I mean? And that went on for a while. And I got therapy. And I joined Codependence Anonymous, and I started studying Stoicism, and I took a class on Stoicism. But taking a class on Stoicism was super easy for me because because of hip hop,
right,
already studied Greek philosophy, the pre-Socratics. I read Socrates, I read Plato, I knew the Apology, Euthyphro. Like I'm raw on Greek stuff. So to learn the Socratics was really easy for me. And I was like, yo, man, Stoic philosophy is dope. I'm in. And so I started going deeper in that dive. And that's what led me to change Bishop Chronicles to be about resilience, because that's what Stoicism is. It's about mental resilience. And Stoicism, rather than just say believe or think or say these things, Stoicism has specific mental exercises to help you confront anger, fear, grief. That's crazy. And right. It's like, you know, it's like lifting weights, bro. You get the dopest weight set in the world, but if you don't pick the weights up, you're not going to get yoked. So in the same way, with these stoic exercises, I started to recover quicker. I started to have joy more. I started to be at peace more. And I was already into meditating years before. and I found it just paired up well with my jujitsu already. And so when I did this particular episode, you know, I was really reflecting on my relationship with my son. We used to live in South Hayward, and it was grimy, man. Like, people were getting clapped all the time. You know, California, for people that don't live here, bro, like, they don't get it. You can drive through a neighborhood that looks so nice, my G. When that sun sets, it is on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's on, right? Yeah. And so, like, you know, at night, there would just be so many gunshots. And I started recognizing, like, my daughter, she was going up the stairs one day, and we were like, get up the stairs, they're shooting. She was like, I know. And she walked slow up the stairs. And outside, it's like, dot, 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 dot. And I'm just like, yo, she's walking slow because she's used to these gunshots.
Right.
That's terrifying. Exactly. She's used to the gunshot. And I was like, she's 6, you know what I'm saying? And she's already used to gunplay, right? And so I remember there was a situation where these dudes, this was crazy. These dudes came down a previous block, did a drive-by, missed the guys they were coming after. Those dudes jumped into a car, punched it, chased down their block, came down my block, pulled up on them. Now, as they're shooting at the car, so it's one car in this lane, one car in this lane. That's the sidewalk where people are parked. They hit the driver. He spin off. He crashes halfway on the block. These dudes take off. I come out the house like, what? And I look across the street, and there's a dude like this in a car. And I'm like, oh, shit, they done killed somebody in front of my house. This is bad, right? Everybody starts calling 911, you know, police, everything. They come to the guy who was in the car, blood. He was alive.
Wow.
And he hadn't been hit. What happened was when the second shooters, because the first shooters missed the second shooters. When the second shooters came up and busted out the first shooters, the dude was sitting in his car like, you know, just got home from work, and the bullets went like zing, 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 zing. And he went into a catatonic shock and was frozen. Yeah. So when I went over there and thought he was dead, it's because he looked dead, but he was frozen. But they like revived that fool, and he hadn't even been hit. But the other dude who did get clapped, he had crashed his ride over up there. So my son, after that, we came to my parents' house to de-escalate for a few days. And one day my son was like, I said, you know, how are you doing, man? You know what I'm saying? Are you cool? And I think also like a kid that I mentored had been murdered, and we had to go to their funeral or something. It was a lot of death popping is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. And I was like, are you cool right now? And he was like, yeah, you know, but I could tell he was getting emotional. And I was like, hey, bro, listen, if you want to cry, it's okay to cry. Crying is important. Right. And he, boom, just collapsed, started crying. And I hugged him and I was like, bro, listen, every man is supposed to cry. I said, listen, if you ever know a man who legitimately does not cry, you have to know that he tortures kittens, or he's really fucked up, bro. He's a real twisted bastard. I said, every real man cries. And he was like, but I don't never see you cry. And I was like, that's a fair statement. And I can explain. I have been writing, like trying to be a writer and keeping journals and all this stuff since I was 13. I was like, my tears are in the ink that I write. That's a lot of my therapy. Right. You know me. I study Islam. I study jujitsu. I study meditation. I do all this different stuff, right? I'm reading all this philosophy, whatever. I said like, so like my tears aren't always obvious because I'm a tough guy, or, you know, I'm impervious to crying. I was like, you know, I cry all the time, but you probably just don't even see it. But most of the times that I don't cry, it's not because I'm not sad or I'm a tough guy. It's because I have found writing to be my method of grieving. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And that was the day. So when I talked about that, it's because right now, I think with the advent of a lot of the or a rebirth of like what it means to be a heterosexual male right now, right? You hear a lot of this talk in the hood, manhood, in white communities. You know, we got to get back to manhood. And at the same time, there's all this stuff about toxic masculinity. And so there's a lot of heterosexual men who feel trapped between trying to develop the man they want to be and being persecuted for wanting to be the man they want to be. Right. Okay. And so in that thing, I think sometimes ideas like crying and stuff, you know, even being a stoic, right? People think of stoicism as a path where you don't cry because you're upright all the time and no one cares. And, you know, we just gonna watch everybody die and be like this. And that's not really it. Stoicism is about letting all of your feelings and emotions be made manifest, but still not letting them cloud your judgment about the virtue and the justice and the courage that you bring into that moment.
Right. No doubt. It's dope, man. Them episodes that you posted were dope. I cry all the time, bro. Like, I remember my grandma told me, man, crying is like taking your soul to the laundromat. So I've always kept that in my head. And so lastly, man, before we get up out of here, man, I want to ask you something that I'm gonna ask all my guests, man. If you had an opportunity to have dinner with 5 people, dead or alive, man, who would they be?
The Prophet Muhammad, Malcolm X, Bodhidharma, who created Kung Fu, Miyamoto Musashi, and Joan of Arc.
Wow. Last 2 are heavy.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Maybe swap. I don't know who would get cut from the list, but I might swap out one of the dudes for Queen Nzinga because she slaughtered so many of the Portuguese. I just had to know how she did it.
Right. You just want to know. Just curious to know.
Right? How did you do that?
Right.
Right.
No doubt, man. Hey, bro, it's been a pleasure, man. I appreciate you taking the time, man.
Honor, man.
Warrior for your people, man. I appreciate you, man. And we just need to get up, man, and you know, just build, bro, like we used to, man. I hate that, you know, time separates us, man. But
yeah, man. I mean, you know, life is real and stuff. You know, life goes nuts. But I'll tell you, man, like, you know, always feel free to reach out to me. If anybody is listening or watching, if you want to connect with what I'm doing the most right now, subscribe to Bishop Chronicles as a podcast. And I just started a TikTok where, like, every day I break down a philosophical theme from a book. And, like, people are starting to dig it, but you know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's Greek, sometimes it's Confucian.
Yeah, I saw a couple on your story on Instagram, and I was like, look at my guy. Like, I'm not there yet, but I'll get there.
Yeah, no, I'm doing it, and the responses have been fantastic. So, you know, at Bishop Chronicles on IG or TikTok, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, reach out. I do still lectures. I'm actually lecturing at Stanford University. I was actually invited by the head of the Graduate School of Philosophy at Stanford to do a lecture on Stoic philosophy.
Oh, that's
and I'm doing that. Yeah, I'm doing that on February 12th. I don't know when this is running, but on February 12th, I'm speaking to Stanford on Stoic philosophy. You know what I'm saying?
That's dope, man.
You know, it's all gratitude, man. You know, I just got back from the UK, did my first jiu-jitsu seminar at Gracie Baja in Leeds, Gracie Baja Roundhay Leeds. I did an iron hook scroll closed guard advanced seminar, and it was packed and it was beautiful. Nobody got COVID. I was like, man, somebody finna die today. This place is packed, but we made it through. And I'm just grateful for, you know, even you wanting to have me on. You know, I've always respected you as an artist and someone who is sincere about helping the youth. And I see you growing academically. And to be quite honest, it warms my heart because, you know, I'm a self-taught scholar. I have a GED, bro. I have a GED. I took a few, like 3 or 4 JC courses, and then I got a paralegal certificate that I used for a little bit. I was working for a civil rights attorney, but like I'm autodidactic, man. So to see you have the courage to go to college, to stay in and elevate yourself, I have nothing but gratitude and reverence for watching you on your path. Truly.
I appreciate that, man. That's an honor to hear that from you, man. And I appreciate you all these years, man. Staying in contact, man. Staying real, staying solid, and we'll get up again, man.